Hello and welcome to this Tutor to You BSAC National Revision live stream. This evening we are looking at Unit 4. I'm joined by Lynn. Hi Lynn.
Hi guys, welcome.
And we're going to be talking about key concepts in research, and these are concepts that are really vital to your understanding of research and your success in answering the 4 activities in the Unit 4 assessment. So a lot of these key concepts are the key words that you really need to be using in all your answers. That's right, isn't it, Lynn?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's test your knowledge. Let's do some recall practice. Yes.
Okay, so we will start our activities with a riddle. So let's see what's going to happen here.
This is our captain.
Okay, so Captain Riddles is going to fly through the sky with 3 clues. They're going to scroll across the screen one at a time. So the first clue.
So if you can write in the chat if you've got any ideas what it might be.
And the clue doesn't hang around for long, so you really need to pay attention.
Yeah. So the researcher collects it themselves. Examples include surveys, interviews, and observations. And focuses on a very specific issue or problem. Any thoughts in the chat? Can you get typing for us this evening?
This is a tricky one, Lynn.
It is a tricky one, but it's a type of research. So I'm sure, you know, that overarching terms that people use when they talk about research. Any ideas? Get people thinking about that. What is it when you do research yourself? What type of research is that?
I think everyone's
Which
being
is different.
very quiet today.
Okay, so we got an example of that type of research. So somebody's had a go at said from Casson questionnaires. Yeah, so questionnaires fits into the category of what we're after. So it's not going to use somebody else's research, it's doing yourself. So if you're doing research yourself, what are you doing? That's the key thing. I think people are a bit quiet.
Shall I reveal the answer?
People out of their misery, yeah. You're doing primary research.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So that just means you firsthand, you do it yourself, okay? You go out there and you gather the data yourself. And that could be, as Casson says, from a questionnaire. Absolutely. Yeah. Well done.
Okay, so in the big reveal, we're going to, they're all coming through now.
Yeah. Maybe there's a little bit of a delay. Yeah.
In the big reveal, we are going to give you 5 clues and you need to guess what is hidden behind the final question mark. Now you've done the first one with Captain Riddles. This one might be a little bit easier. That's my little hint. So the first clue, it is a type of research. Can be sourced from the internet, journals, textbooks, archives, and libraries. Anyone want to guess?
As soon as you think you know, type it in the chat and then we can see.
Involves the summary, collation, and synthesis, I like that word, of existing research. So synthesis means kind of bringing it all together into one. I think we've got an answer there.
We have. So Casson said, is it secondary research? I think you might be onto something. Let's have a look.
Okay, so just go through the rest of the clues. Using information produced from previous primary research as a source of data, also known as desk research. Yep, secondary research. Well done, Casson. And Mr. Templeman, well done.
Yeah, brilliant. And actually, you can talk about whether research is, when it's written in the article in your Unit 4, whether the researchers have done it themselves, so if it's primary, or if they've gone out and gathered it from other sources. So somebody else might have already done the research and they might have put their research in a journal, then you could call that secondary research.
Okay. Would you like to do this one, Lynn?
Yeah, sure. So thinking about research then, I'd like you to give me 4 examples of quantitative research methods. So we've got those different terms, haven't we? Quantitative and qualitative. So I won't talk through what they mean just yet. Let's see if we can get some examples of what a quantitative research method is in the chat. Got 30 seconds. Have a go. Just think of those different methods you know and what might fall into the quantitative camp. What do you reckon? Give people about 15 seconds to think about it. I'm sure Kazan's got an answer. We've got Chloe. I don't know if that's Chloe that joined us earlier or another Chloe. So hi, Chloe. Thanks for your answer. So she said questionnaires. Good. Brilliant. Kazan said surveys or observations. So it depends what type of observation, Kazan. Could you maybe be more specific? What type of observation might it be? Has to be quite a specific type to be quantitative. So any ideas? Type in any that you can think of. And then maybe we'll do an unveiling of them.
Okay, I'll reveal the answers.
Yeah. Let's have a little look. So you could have said, absolutely, questionnaire and survey, as you guys said. Also a scientific experiment. Yeah, Mr. Templeman's come in with his scientific experiments. Brilliant. You could do a structured interview or official statistics. And actually, as you talked about doing observation, it could be a structured observation. So that means you've got a checklist of certain things that you're looking for, that you're noting down as you go. But it needs to be quite standardized, following kind of like a checklist kind of list. Similarly, with a structured interview, you might have quite a lot of closed questions in your interview where you're just talking them through a questionnaire, basically, in a structured interview. So that's quantitative methods. Brilliant. We might look at the features of quantitative in a minute, Liz.
Okay. So now let's have 4 examples of qualitative research methods. So start typing those in the chat and I'll start the timer. So qualitative research methods.
So obviously doesn't include any of those ones that we've just looked at, but might be kind of different types, different variations of those. Brilliant. Oh, hi, Bartholomew. Thanks for joining us. I feel like maybe you were with us last week. I can't remember, but your name looks familiar. So thank you for joining us. So we've got interviews and focus groups. And Kazan says unstructured interviews. Really like that. That kind of specific type of interview, because we know that there's a variety of types of interview, don't we? So if you can be specific about what type of interview, if it's structured, unstructured, semi-structured, or focus groups, brilliant. And Chloe's talked about observation. So absolutely, main observation does tend to be qualitative, actually. And she talked about case studies as well. So that's really good.
Fabulous.
So see what we got, Liz.
Yep. So
Let's
we
have a little look.
Unstructured interviews, focus groups, participant observation, and case studies. And I see that Kaysen is asking, longitudinal studies can, ? I guess you're asking, can they be qualitative or quantitative? I think a longitudinal study can probably be both. Do you agree, Lynn? Or either, yeah, I should say, either.
Yeah, your longitudinal studies, just that you've been doing the same thing over a longer period of time to compare things at different points in time. So it could be over 10 years, it could be over 3 years, or it could be over 40 years, for example. But you might use a range of methods to help you with your longitudinal study. So you could do interviews and a questionnaire, for example. So yeah, it can be a variety of things. And it's good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's quite common for researchers, especially, more large scale research, to use multiple methods, isn't it, Lynn?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And think about the census. That's a good example of a longitudinal study that you might have heard. Okay, we're going to get you to think a bit more harder now. So we're going to think about those quantitative and qualitative research methods. So we haven't really given you the definition of these because we wanted you to think about the features of them. So what might make up a quantitative method and what might make up a qualitative research method? What kind of features do they have to have? So on the right hand side, you've got 8 phrases, and we want you to split them into 2 categories. So which things fit on the left and which things fit on the right. You don't have to write loads. I just want you to write quantitative and then tell us which numbers relate, and then maybe in the next line write qualitative and tell us which phrases link with that one as well. Okay, I hope that makes sense.
I will start the timer.
Brilliant. And just while you're thinking, Sienna said, do these get posted as videos on the channel? Yes. So you can watch them as catch up. Sienna, your teachers can also download the PowerPoints and they can do them with you in class as well. So, maybe you could come back and revisit this in a few weeks' time and see whether you still can remember the answers. So Kazan gets our gold star tonight because they're all over putting the answers in straight away. So well done. So we have our first attempt at quantitative, saying that it's number 1. So it tells us how much, how often, and how many. Structured, analysed using statistical analysis and numerical. I think that is a really good attempt there. And Chloe agrees with you out of three of those. And then have we got any qual? Yeah, Arshan's had a go at qual and given us number 2, unstructured, number 3, descriptive, and number 6, analysed through meaningful themes. And then Kazan's come in and added number 8 as well. Okay. So I think, some really good knowledge there, Liz. Let's have a little look. I think they were spot on. Mm-hmm. Absolutely spot on. So when you've got your research methods that appear for you in the research article that you've got, you need to think about, right, are these research methods qualitative or are they quantitative? And you try and unpick what features they might have about them. So if there's a questionnaire and it's used on a large number of people, think, right, was it quite a structured questionnaire? If it's a large sample, you're going to get lots of data. You're probably going to get lots of numerical data that you could go off and analyze to work out how many people do certain things or certain behaviors. Whereas if it's qualitative and it's more like an interview, an unstructured interview, it's going to be very descriptive, the information that you're going to get through people. And then you're going to have to analyze it by trying to draw out themes of the types of things that people are saying. But you're probably going to get more rich, in-depth data that helps you understand why or how certain people are feeling about things or the behaviors that they do. So they're quite distinct types of research, really. So make sure you feel really comfortable with that terminology, okay? Qualitative and quantitative.
Okay, so a tug of war. So we're going to put 2 statements on the screen and we want to know which team would win this tug of war. And I think what I'll ask you to do is to type in the chat which one you think would win. So which one is more important and why. And actually, there's no kind of like hard and fast answers to this one. I'm more interested in what is your rationale for what you argue. Okay, so let's have a look. So which of these is better to have when conducting research? A, validity, or B, reliability? So I want you to tell me in the chat, do you think validity is more important or reliability? And when you tell me which one you think is more important, tell me why it's more important, or perhaps in what context it's more important. Or if you want to say they're both equally valid, or I shouldn't use that word, they're both equally required, tell me why they're both equally required. So I see Sienna has gone with A. So Sienna, why would you argue that A is better to have? Just type a few words.
We've got Arshan that's come in, who's also saying A, the same as Sienna. Validity, as it needs to be valid first rather than reliable. Arshan, why? Why does it need to be valid first? Can you tell me that? Oh, hang on. Maybe Arshan's gone on.
Yeah.
He's typing, they're typing lots of times. So for a test to be reliable, it also needs to be valid, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
I see what you're arguing there, yeah.
Anyone they're else want to... They're both very important.
Yeah. Anyone else want to throw in anything?
Some thoughts. Remember that reliability and validity are super important terms that you must mention, particularly in Activity 1 and Activity 4 in your exam paper. You can't really score high marks without talking about these 2 terms, okay? Kazan said, reliability, better results, whereas validity is results that can happen again. Oh, have you got that the right way around, do you think? Arshan said, on the other hand, a measurement or observation must be reliable first before it has the chance of being valid. So some interesting points there, Liz, actually, for us to unpick.
Yeah. So
what did we think? What's our response to this?
Validity.
Who's going to win the Tug of War?
Validity and reliability is challenging, and there are different types of validity, especially. And I suppose if you're a psychology student as well, you might know this in more depth, but I'll see if we can kind of simplify it for health and social care perspectives and purposes. So validity refers to the accuracy of a measure and whether the data that you get is accurately presenting a true picture of what is being studied, which is, Sienna has just said, it will be a better and true result. Yeah. Whereas reliability refers to the consistency of a measure. So if you have if you create a questionnaire, to make your questionnaire reliable, you have to use standardized questions. Because if you do it again in the same conditions with the same kind of people, you should get similar kind of results. And it's about reproducibility and repeatability. Broadly speaking, I would say that if you're doing qualitative research, or you're looking at a piece of research that is qualitative, where they want to understand how or why someone is doing something, or how they feel about something, or their experience, you need to make sure it's really valid. And you do that by using, for example, unstructured interviews, so that you can really get in depth with that person to really find out what they feel. Give them open questions so that they can explain themselves without being limited by a set options for the answers. Whereas if you were doing maybe a COVID vaccination trial, a clinical trial where you're looking to develop a vaccine, it needs to be reliable. You need to know that you will consistently produce the same results, because we can't use medical treatments that are not consistent and are not proven again and again to be safe and effective and to do what they're supposed to do. So perhaps you could say that validity is more important in qualitative, whereas in quantitative you want it to be reliable and valid. So you need to make sure that your COVID vaccine trial has reproducible results, but also that you are actually measuring whether the COVID vaccination protects people against COVID infection. That's the validity side of it. So it is complex, but you can learn kind of like generally how validity and reliability applies to the different research methods. And we do have at Tutor 2, we have some really nice knowledge organisers for Unit 4 that help you do that, and they are available on the website. So that is one way of making sure that you know validity and reliability. Anything you want to say about that, Lynn, that I've maybe missed out?
No, really good explanations there, Liz. I think on the whole, you can sort of see that quantitative methods, so the ones that are more numerical, tend to have higher reliability, and qualitative methods that are more open with, lots of talking and discussion, tend to have higher validity. And I think those principles you can sort of apply. And like you were saying, Liz, you can kind of pre-prepare some of your answers and how you're going to write about reliability and validity once you know what the research methods are. So if the article has a survey and an interview, you can practice how you're going to talk about validity and reliability in your answers, because you know what the questions are going to be in the exam. So just practice them beforehand, okay? So you can feel comfortable when you go into the exam.
Yeah, that's a really good tip, actually, isn't it? Like, you can practice those answers, particularly for question 1. Okay, let's have a look at our next one. So do you want to do this one, Lynn?
Yeah, sure. So I quite like this activity. It's like the lineup. So all these people are kind of guilty, or all these phrases are. So we've got 4 key phrases, and we're going to describe one of them, and you have to work out which one we're describing. Okay, so we're going to give you 4 clues that relate to it, and then I want you to write in the chat whether you think it's A, B, C, or D. Okay, so we'll bring up the first clue, Liz. So a term used when discussing research participants. Okay, do you want to write in the chat? Do you think that might be A, B, and C, or D at this point? You could just have a guess, have a go. Which one are you feeling that actually might relate to most when we're discussing research participants? What kind of terms do we tend to talk about? Okay, so Kazan said maybe sampling. I think that's, could be a sensible guess. Anybody else think anything different? Just give you a second. Okay, a few C's actually, Liz.
Okay.
So maybe we'll give another clue. Yeah. Okay, includes characteristics such as age, gender, and social economic status. So are you sticking with C there, or do you think you're going to change it to be something else? These are all quite juicy health and social care Unit 4 terms, aren't they? Objective, generalisability, sampling, representativeness. And if you can kind of get these words all through your answers, they're going to look really like you've got loads of knowledge, which is great. Okay, maybe we need another clue, Liz. Can you help us? Results in being, maybe it should say, results in being able to generalize to the target population. So that's essentially saying the results can be generalized to the target population. So a few people saying D, a few people switching to B. Okay, maybe we need our fourth clue to just kind of, finalize it. A sample that accurately reflects the characteristics of a larger group. So what's your final answer? What would you say? Now that you've seen all of those terms, which key term do you think it's most likely to be? Chloe is straight in thinking it's D. Is it representativeness? Shall we put everybody out of there? They're thinking, lots of D's come in. Well done. Yeah, absolutely. Representativeness. That is such an important thing in terms of your sample. You want it to be really representative because it's reflecting the characteristics of a larger group. You've got a real variety of people there in your sample. Okay. Brilliant. Well done.
Okay, so linked to that, we have a true or false. So the statement is generalizability refers to the extent to which the research findings can be applied or extended to a broader population, settings, or conditions beyond the specific ones studied. Is that statement true or false? So is that a true reflection of what generalizability is or not? Give me a smile or a sad face or a thumb up or a thumb down, whatever you like.
What's everyone thinking? So Arshan thinks true. Chloe's thinking true. I think they could be onto something there. Olathe got true as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So general feeling that what you're saying, Liz, is right.
Okay, let's have a look. Thank you, Sienna. Nice big smile there. Yeah, exactly. So generalizability, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Allows researchers to draw conclusions about a large group of people by only studying a small sample of them. And as we alluded to in the previous activity, the more representative your sample is, the more likely it is that you can generalize or you can, make conclusions about the full sample of people, the full target population based on the sample, sorry.
Brilliant, Liz. I was trying not to give that one away. Great. Okay, brilliant. So I quite like this because this is like a flip side activity. So we're going to tell you a statement and we want you to know what would be the alternative view to the one that's shown on the coin. Okay, often it's kind of thought about as almost like as an opposite. So subjective, so that's a key term there, refers to something that is based on personal opinions, feelings, or experiences. So what might be the flip side to subjective? If something's not subjective, it is what? And we often talk about these terms in terms of, the different types of research methods. Some of them are more or higher, have higher subjectivity and objectivity than others. So it's quite a good way to sort of distinguish the type of research method. Sienna is doing great tonight. So is Casson. So let's have a look. Chloe has come forth and Olath has said Sienna, Chloe and Olath all saying objective. I think they've done their revision, Liz. They're doing really well.
I think you gave it away as well, Lynn.
Oh no, did I? What did I say?
He said subjectivity and objectivity.
Oh, there you go. See, well done if you picked that up, that I gave it away. I'm forever doing that. I'm really
well done, Arshan. Arshan said objective, not influenced by personal feelings, opinions or experiences. Yeah, well done, Arshan. That's a really good full answer there. There you
Brilliant.
go.
So objective refers to something that is based on facts, evidence, or observation. So people tend to say that experiments tend to be more objective, whereas something like an unstructured interview would be more subjective. Brilliant. Well done.
Yeah. And I think we need to remember that data can be objective or subjective, but that doesn't make subjective data less valid or important, because if you want to know how a person feels, if your research is about how people feel about something, so how they feel about a service, for example, or how they feel about a particular way that something is done, like a particular practice within a service, then you actually want to know what their subjective opinion is. Whereas, go back to my COVID vaccination trial, if you're doing a vaccination trial, we need to have that based on facts and evidence and, you know, things that we can prove, because we don't want to use medical interventions, vaccines, medications on people if we're not sure that they do exactly what we want them to do. So they do have to be based on hard, objective evidence. Okay, let's see what we've got next. A brilliant one to finish on, a word smash. So some of you have been with us before, so you know how this works. These are 2 clues on the screen. On the left, we have a text clue, and on the right, we have a picture clue. You have to work out what the word is for both of them and smash them together. So the first bit, of considerable or relatively great size, extent, or capacity, that's your first word. And then that person is holding something. What are they holding? That is your second word. Smash them together and you have a key term for Unit 4. Any guesses? You're either good at these or not, we discovered, didn't we, earlier, Lynn?
Yeah, totally. And I think I'm afraid to say anything now in case I give it away.
Oh, look, Chloe's straight in.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so what would be, Chloe, you're very much on the right track. What would be, what does it mean though if something's of considerable, relatively great size, extent, or capacity? And put that word in front of what you guys have written. Okay, so what do you think? It's a type of sample size. What do you think that statement could mean? Come on, I know you've got it in you guys.
All I can think of is urine samples.
Yeah, I know, me too. Cassan's come up with it. Yeah, brilliant. Well done. Large sample size. I really enjoyed making these. These were fun. So yeah, you need a large, if you have a large sample, then your work is more likely to be representative, your research is more likely to be representative, and it's more likely to be able to be generalized. So often doing something like a questionnaire, you can get out easier to a large sample of the population than you can by maybe doing an unstructured interview, for example, that might take you quite a long time. So it might be hard to have a large sample size then.
Yeah.
So well done.
Exactly. Okay, the next one I just did not get. So the picture is of something, and then the text clue, a scientific procedure undertaken to make a discovery, test a hypothesis, or demonstrate a known fact. Smash those 2 things together, what do you get? If any of you have these at home that are in that picture, you should be able to get this one.
Yeah, I couldn't resist a doggy picture. So yeah, we're going to be very proud of you if you can get this one. I think Cassan did really well on the last one, so I wonder if they are on it today. Let's see.
Could they be a dog owner?
Yes. We'll just see if anything comes in, and then maybe we can give a little clue.
Yeah, I think we just need to give them just a little bit longer. I'm not sure if I can see some things. I've got 2 screens.
Here we can see some things typing away. Yeah. Yes!
Well done,
Well
guys.
done.
Yeah, lab experiment. So they are 3 Labradors.
Often known as labs. People call them their labs, don't they? Yeah.
So lab experiments. Well done, guys.
Really
I literally didn't get it.
One more. Really. Yeah. One more to finish us off tonight,
Okay,
I think.
So the final one. What is this one? So the picture, and then the systematic investigation into and study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. What are we looking for here?
I'm going to give a clue. It's like an overarching thing that we've been talking about tonight. And then what's the picture on the left? Don't overthink it. Just really simply, if I said to you, what's that on the left, what would you say? Arshan, you're really close. Really close, Arshan.
They're all coming through on the other screen, but not on the
one I can't see them yet. I feel like you're ahead of me.
Sienna has got it right. Kaysen, is it Orla?
Well, close.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not experiment, but what might it be? The overarching term that we've talked about tonight. So you're all right with field, not field experiment, but field...
Not field test, not field investigation, field...
What are we talking about? What's this unit all about? Go on, who's going to come through? Give them a minute.
I think they are. It's just...
They might be able to see each other's answers before I can see
probably.
them. Well done, Arshan and Chloe, at the same time. Field research, brilliant, really good. Well done.
Research.
Oh, we spelled field wrong. Oh no, we haven't. Somebody did.
We
I'm
did
just
have a
looking at...
typo, but
I know I've
one.
got field everywhere. Yeah, between different types of spelling on the chat as well. My eyes are going funny now.
Yeah,
brilliant. Well done, everyone.
So brilliant. Make sure that you are really what's the word? My brain's gone. Make sure you're really hot, really hot, really prepared with these key concepts, that you know what all of these words mean, that you can use them in context. Practice using them in class, practice using them in your if you're doing any homework at the moment, when you're preparing for your Part B. So you've got your Part A now, right? So you're in college and you're preparing. Use all these keywords, and then make sure in your assessment in January you are using these in your answers. And as Lynn said, you can practice your answers, guys. There's nothing to stop you practicing writing out your full mini essays for activities 1, 2, 3 and 4. Link to that. Make sure you've watched our video 15-minute walkthrough of the Unit 4 paper, because that will really help you as well. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on the website as well in the reference section. Yeah, brilliant, guys. See you next week for, I can't even remember, observations and experiments.
And surveys.
Oh, okay. Questionnaires and surveys.
Yeah.
See you next week for questionnaires and surveys.
Yeah, take care.
Brilliant. Bye.
Bye, everyone.